and they're broke and they can't find a job and they're suffering mental health issues. Like, it's just a joke. Nobody wants to get drafted into World War III. And that's why I think they're going to pull a major event very soon. It's going to be one of those flag events, guys, that I'm really, really concerned about. And it reminds me of the lies that you get from politicians, the bankers, and, all these people. It reminds me of this documentary that I just watched on Sitting Bull. I don't know if you guys know who Sitting Bull is, but he was a very well-known chief and a Lakota leader who was basically killed by the U.S. government after being forced into a concentration camp, essentially, right after the Civil War. And see, what you're told in the history books isn't really the real history. So, for example, many children grow up in American schools, they're told that Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, basically fought the Civil War to end slavery. And that was the point of the whole Civil War, was to just end slavery through the Emancipation Proclamation and give people of all colors freedom. That's actually not true at all. Case in point is Sitting Bull. You know what the American government did right after the Emancipation Proclamation and right after the Civil War? Conquered the entire West, destroyed all these people's lives, the native inhabitants, and then basically eradicated them, either through war, deceit, or disease. Now, the deceit, that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because the American government is very good at this. And this is something that Sitting Bull actually talks about in this really great documentary that I just watched, about how the American government would force them into a new way of life, treaties, lie about it, backtrack, and then basically through deception achieve their conquering. And this is exactly what they had done to the Lakota people and all of these great nations. And it's very, very sad. So I'll give you an example. There's a specific example in this beautiful documentary that I'll put up on the screen here in a minute. Can't think of the name of it, where he says the U.S. government had promised to pay the Lakota people while they're on the reservation, which is a concentration camp, by the way. Did the same thing to Japanese Americans during World War II. They were promised a $50,000 annuity, I think paying out like every year for something like 30 years or something like that. It was longer, that was like 50 years. And they were promised that they were going to get money, basically, from the government. This is where the deception is. Well, it turns out not only did the U.S. government break the promise, but they cut it down to like 15 years from like 50 or something like that, and then basically just got rid of it completely and essentially wiped out the entire population. In fact, he was killed, like I said, right around the time the U.S. government was fearing this new kind of emergence of a ghost dance. That was a new religious kind of activity that the populations were engaging in at a time when they were very demoralized and, were being essentially conquered by the USA. Why do I bring this up? Yes, there's a lot of tragedy in history, as we're seeing now. I'm bringing this up is because all of you are being deceived, not only into CBD,